Hey everybody, welcome to DadsDen of Pop Culture and Justice League Monday. Justice League number 24, so this will end the second year of publication for this particular comic book, February of 1989, and a great cover of sort of a callback to the first. But we got a lot more people in here, and we got Gardner, Who Let These Guys In, by Giffen, DeMatteis, Templeton, McGuire, and Rubenstein. Hey, they got it right on this one. Not like the last one. Okay. So this is kind of a big book for a couple reasons. For one thing, it's a little bigger than the average book. There is a special 16-page story in the middle, which we'll take a look at. This one's called The Road Less Traveled. Now, this one picks up, and we saw this at the end of the last book we looked at last week, when you had everything kind of goes black. They called it the atmospheric inversion. This was this metagene bomb that gave people superpowers, that awakened superpowers in folks who, I guess they had to already have the gene. So it was kind of a big event. We find out that Maxwell Lord has the metagene. It kind of messed with Green Flame, Fire. So this is following up on Max and his experiences. Hasn't been into work for a little while. He's not feeling real happy about having the metagene and what it might do to him in the future. As he says here, from what I've learned about the gene, it simply means that if I'm unfortunate enough to be bitten by a radioactive wombat, or maybe standing at ground zero at a nuclear test site, there might be some interesting results. Okay. Little callback to Spider-Man and the Hulk. But if you remember a year ago in JLI number 12, Maxwell Lord was being controlled by this computer that had been created by Metron. And he's wondering if the reason the computer went after him was because it already knew he had the metagene. Okay, so he decides he's going to go check it out. Now, he's not feeling 100%, but he decides to do it anyway. So he goes to the site, this cave. Now, it all, as far as he knew, had caved in. So there's probably no way that he could actually get into it. But then he discovers there might be a way in. That's it. I'm turning around, getting back in that Jeep, and there he is going down. Now, we get a little bit of his history here. The way he found it the first time, he went mountain climbing with his boss, and he arranged an accident. And we see here, as he's going down, but the poor idiot went and fell without my help. Oh no. Why couldn't the avalanche have covered him? Why? And so he sees the body of that boss. So he was planning to murder somebody, but didn't actually do it. That's a pretty rough scene. Well drawn, though. And we then see Maxwell Lord just sort of sitting there in the darkness, thinking about his life. Well, he decides to go in. He runs into the feet of the Construct, an old Justice League villain that was sort of reawakened by the computer. And here it is. So we go back to the embassy, little bit between Blue Beetle and Oberon. Oberon is kind of in a bad mood. He's had to, be on monitor duty all this time because of the whole alien invasion that was going on. And it looks like he's still going to be on monitor duty because Beetle's going to go take a nap. Well, Maxwell Lord does manage to get the computer started up. Hello, Max. Oh, Max, X. How's it hanging, baby? Maybe a little bit of a Max Headroom thing going in there. So he's demanding it. Tell him, I wanted answers. Did you know I have the gene, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then the thing short circuits itself and kind of electrocutes him a little bit. But more importantly, it seals things up, that explosion. And Max is now stuck inside this place in the dark. Well, he pulls out his Justice League communicator, and it's also been shorted out. So he's in a really, really bad spot. And he's like, where is the Justice League when you need them? In fact, that's exactly what he says here. Where's the League when you really need them? Well, I'd pay good money just to see Beetle's ugly face Can you hear me, you superpowered dipsticks? Help! And all of a sudden, Beetle does a spit take. Great spit take, Beetle. I didn't know you could do Danny Thomas. And Beetle's like, Max is in trouble. The cave-in, etc. Oberon thinks he's full of crap. Ice believes him. Well, Ice is a little naive, but she's also probably the best of them when you get right down to it. So she decides to go with him. They rush out to the site, and while Max is at his lowest, crack, 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 crumble. They get, there's actually a good line here. Beetle, I'm sorry. I do believe you. You're all right, Ice. You know that? What were you before you became a superhero? Well, actually, I was an ice goddess. And they get down on me for joking around too much. Well, I mean, she was actually an ice goddess. But they managed to bust through. Hiya, Max, old buddy, old pal. How you doing? Well, don't just stand there with your mouth hanging open. Say something. Don't worry. Be happy. Oh, that was a big song at the time. Beetle, for the last time, I didn't do anything. So he's trying to, how did you get into my head? Well, it looks like he really did get into his head. Beetle's not kidding, Max. Out of the blue, he just started yelling that you were in danger, knew your location and everything. He's not just some two-dimensional jokester, you know. He deserves to be taken seriously. Yes, well, what I'd like to know is how you two got through all that rock. It's not like you had John or Rocket Red to pound through that mass of who needs muscle when you've got the amazing ice. Tell him, my dear. I just kept icing those rocks until, under all that extreme cold, they became brittle as glass. After that, it was an easy matter to dig you out. You know, Icy, we're quite a team. I don't know why I've been wasting all my time hanging around with Booster. Good job, both of you, and he's going to give them a CD player that they've wanted, and we got this little moment here between Fire and Oberon. I don't know, Oberon. Max isn't very big on surprises. Max won't be back until at least Friday. By the time he gets here, it'll all be taken care of. You just leave it to Oberon. Whoa, leave what to Oberon? So here's our little insert. I'm going to go through this one relatively quickly. It's by Levin and Haspiel. It's about Maxwell Lord. Basically, we have Maxwell Lord talking to Blue and Gold there. And he's watching the amazing colossal man on this little tiny Watchman. Nice line. Who's watching my Watchman? Uh-oh, sounds like our benefactor. So they're trying to convince him to get them a big screen TV to make monitor duty go easier. It's only $15,000. Just $15,000. Pocket change? Yep. Forget it. So they're not going to get that. He goes out, gets in his car, and he is kidnapped. Cadnapped? He is kidnapped by revolutionaries. In my heart, I want to give her the Baroness's voice. But because I care about my audience, I will probably not be doing a Baroness impersonation. Okay, so you can kind of guess now. From that last one, Max was able to send that message to Beetle's head. He's got some kind of telepathic abilities here. When he uses them, he gets a nosebleed. Okay, so they get a call. It's a ransom. What do they want? The kidnappers want $500 million within 24 hours for his return. Ooh, hefty bread, even for Max. I know. They can't raise it in time. They want to know if we can help. Know what? I feel sorry for the kidnappers. So here's where Max starts working his magic on the other revolutionaries. Hey, you know, you could be doing better. I could use a man like you in my operation. Try that again. 3, 2, 1. Hey, I bet you could be doing better. I could use a man like you in my operation. Oh, yeah? Sure, smart man like you should be leading this operation, not taking orders from some woman. Hey, Smitty, shift change. Take a break. Nice talking with you, Smitty. So tell me, pal, what's your game? Meanwhile, she is making the calls to her superior, who's angry. They're not getting the money. Things are not going the way they're supposed to go. And so she runs in there, and what does she find? These two are arguing about who should be in charge. She's, you're professionals. You're being paid good money to do a job. Shape up. As for you, your authorization is required for the ransom. Mine? Why, my dear, you are overestimating my worth. I am but a humble public relations man with no resources to... Then perhaps I should dispose of you now. Then again, perhaps if you lowered your demands, Justice League International, can I help you? Okay, so what we get is they lower the demands. She keeps having trouble with the big boss, who finally is like, you know what? You're fired. This is not working. Get out of here. She goes back in. Now they got guns on her. You know, what's the meaning of this? We're working for Lord now. No, you can't be. Double the salary with full benefits package. Sorry, Val. Does that include dental? So he manages to sort of, kind of get them on his side. But they do mention here, hello, JLI, can I help you? It's the kidnappers. They'll negotiate for Max. They should pay us to take him back. You should pay us to take him back. You idiot, don't repeat everything I say. They want to know how much we want. Oh. And so when he gets home, they manage to get that big screen TV that they wanted so that they would be willing to take Maxwell Lord back. All right, cute little story. But it does advance the sort of story of Maxwell Lord and his powers, which are going to come up quite often in the book. Okay, what was Oberon planning? He was planning a giant party to bring some new members into the Justice League. And a lot of these people are, of course, going to be familiar to you. Here, in fact, rather than hold that, let's point them out. What do we got? We got Hawkman. We got the original Green Lantern. We got Wally West Flash. There's Guy Gardner. Major Force, Captain Atom. Now who is that? Big Barda. There's Gnort. Creeper. I like that. No. That's Creeper. After he's called a creep by Hawkgirl. We got Ice. We got Firestorm. We got Starman. Metamorpho, who was reborn in that whole metagene thing. There's Elongated Man, Rocket Red. Wonder Woman, Blue Beetle, Booster Gold. Blue Beetle is trying really hard to pick up Wonder Woman. Look, can you blame him? She's a goddess, for crying out loud. We got Power Girl. We got Animal Man, Mr. Miracle, and Batman. But you always have a bad feeling about things, and I'm usually right. Okay, so big crazy party. Oberon's trying to keep everything going. Hawkman, angry as always about everything. Doesn't look like he's going to be sticking around. Now, ultimately, they do a sort of retcon, which I hate, where that wasn't actually Hawkman and Hawkwoman that we know, because they were going to be changed quite a bit by the Hawkworld miniseries, which I had. It was very good and very popular. So Max is kind of like, well, actually, this is kind of, no, Max isn't happy about it. I'm sorry, I'm getting that kind of backwards. John Jones thinks maybe it's going to be a good idea, but Max wants John to take control of this, to actually do the recruitment, which upsets Oberon quite a bit. So we get some jokes here from Metamorpho, who's talking about, he was working in The Outsiders with Batman. Yeah, it was no picnic working with Batman. I mean, he's not the easiest guy to get along with. Tell me about it. But he knows his business, that's for sure. And you know what else? Underneath that gruff exterior of his beats a heart, yes? A pure granite. That's a little joke, Cap. I think you'd fit in just perfectly around here, pal. Here we had Adam in there too. Hawkman, never in my life have I encountered a group so undisciplined, so self-indulgent, so lacking in a sense of responsibility. Oh, come on, Guitar, they can't be that bad. John seems pretty proud of the bunch. I'll tell you something else. John's changed. One morning, I looked out the window. It was early. He didn't think anyone would be up. And I saw him on the lawn dancing and singing in Martian. And he changed his shape, too. My God, he looked like Gumby. He's at it again, so none of them really like Guitar at this point. We have a nice scene here, again, with Ice and Oberon in the kitchen, trying to help him out with some stuff. Yeah, gee, thanks, Icy. You're one of the best things that's ever happened to this team. Boy, when I think about the hard time I gave you and Beatrice when you first signed up, well, you didn't really know us. It was only fair that we prove ourselves. Well, you've proved yourself to me, lady, now and forever. I mean, fighting aliens is one thing, but weenies, and talking about helping heat up these cocktail weenies. Okay. As they leave the kitchen, though, we got these little roach motels. And there's some noises and some voices coming out of that. Now, if you remember from a few issues back, a whole bunch of alien invaders had been shrunk down, and they were captured inside there. So maybe something's about to happen there. Well, here we get Fire. She's still kind of laid up. She wants to go to the party. I'm not. Now let me go to the party, or I'll hold my breath till I turn blue. Ice is sort of trying to be, mother hen here a little bit, take care of her. Really good art. Look at this. Honestly, I mean, just the work on the faces and stuff, is such a well done. This is one of the things I loved about this comic back in the day, was just the quality of the art. And here we get a whole bunch of it, where Oberon is having to ask questions of all these heroes, and they're not real happy with most of it. We get another blow up between Hawkman and Blue Beetle and Booster Gold here. And that's when the Warriors here pop out of their little roach motels and go back to their original size. And they're going to make the Justice League pay big time. Time for... uh-oh. And what do they see? A room full of superheroes. And very, very quietly, he's saying, let's back up and get out of here. So sorry for interrupting. We had the wrong address. Right. Well, and this is great, by the way. So let's look at, first, let's just look at that. That's so good. So we got the image of them. Now they're still staring at them. But then we get to the next page. And what do we see in the background there? We see Guy Gardner's face pop up. Hey, those are Kuns. And then, boom, a giant green fist shatters back that door, and all hell breaks loose. I love this shot here of Power Girl leaping over people, trying to get to them, because, boy, they want to get into a nice big fight and kick some butt. Well, they end up racing down into the basement. Oh, before we get to that, though, John, I have an announcement to make. And what is that, Guitar? I quit. I knew I was going to get a headache. So they all rush down into these teleporters to get out. But unfortunately, the teleporters will actually teleport them into nothingness, which is a little shocking. And so, Green Lantern here is so the threat has ended. No thanks to any of us. There were too many of us in too confined an area. Our own numbers worked against us. Hal's right. Too many heroes can be as big a problem as too few. But it's a problem that can be solved for those of you who are interested. Well, what is he talking about? He's not talking about the Huntress. What he's talking about is Justice League Europe, which is about to premiere. And this is where we get the team members for that. Power Girl, Flash, Animal Man, Elongated Man, Wonder Woman, Metamorpho, Rocket Red, and Captain Atom, who's ultimately going to be the leader. Now, don't get too used to Wonder Woman. Don't get too used to Animal Man. But Justice League Europe was also a very popular comic. We're going to be taking a look at it as we go through the Justice League Internationals, which is going to, at that point, become Justice League America. Okay. But at any rate, so this issue, we get a little bit of character work on Maxwell Lord and on the fact that he may, in fact, have superpowers at the moment, and a cute little thing with him being held captive with kidnappers. And then we get the big party scene, which is the foundation for Justice League Europe. There we go. So, Justice League International, number 24, February of 1989, the 2-year anniversary of the book. That's a good one. A lot of great art in this thing. What they did it with the comedy, but they did it also with the art. They really humanize all these people. Okay, I know, Martianize in this case, but you know what I mean. We get interesting faces, and we get expressions that people recognize. It's not just all superheroes being superheroes. You see them as human beings as well. And that can be taken too far, and it can become a problem, but I think it really works well in this book and in the spinoff Justice League Europe. I'll tell you what, this was a real big hit because you also got Justice League Quarterly. It got a lot of annuals. Did very well for a long time. Okay, this will wrap this one up, though. Let me know in the comments what you think of this one. I'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, maybe subscribe, maybe share with a friend. In the meantime, God bless everybody. Please be kind to one another. Have a little bit of fun out there. And I will see you again, hopefully soon. Look at that Batman. In Dad's Den of pop culture. Bye-bye.